Okay. So let's have some audience come in. Okay, Assalamu alaikum everyone, and hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today we have a very special guest, Shane Oglo from PR Reach. Thank you, Shane, for joining us. It's really an honor to have you in, and over to you.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's great to be here. So just for any of you, I mean, Zishan, I've known you for a while now. We've conversed a fair bit over the last year, I suppose. But for people who don't know me, I came into the Amazon space kind of in that boom time when the private label really exploded around 2013. And that sort of the first wave, I think I like to call it. And that was really good. It was obviously a lot different back then than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, it was so much easier. In other ways, it was so much harder because there was absolutely no information. If you found someone who had been selling already for 6 months, you quickly grabbed onto them because they had 6 months more of experience. And but of course, now there's so many resources and so many great people and mentors to learn from. But what happened was I had some really great early success. I'd hit my $1 million mark within about a year, and I mean, for me that was great. I mean, for other people nowadays, people blow that away, but for me at that time, I was like, wow, this is awesome. And it kept getting better, and I kept pioneering some different ideas and testing lots of new things. It was really the Wild West back then. And one thing led to another, and I ended up becoming a mentor and a coach through a company I used to work with called Amazing. At that time, it was called Amazing Selling Machine. Now it's just called Amazing.com. And eventually, they asked me to create their courses for them. So for 2 years, I created their courses, ASM 5 and 6, I think. I think they're up to 12 now. I don't work with them anymore, but so I've literally trained thousands of people how to sell on Amazon over the years. And then, around 2016, I backed away from that, and I just went on to do my own things, build my own brands. And the interesting thing about the Amazon opportunity is it's not just for Amazon sellers. Yes, that's a wonderful opportunity that I think that, most people in the Amazon space take advantage of, but maybe you're a software developer. Maybe you're a coach or a mentor. Maybe you do accounting or graphic design, or who knows? Like, there's so many of these businesses that form around Amazon to support it. So it's really an exciting opportunity, no matter what you do and where you are, what your skills are. I think it's pretty cool. And that's what I ended up doing. I ended up coming to a company called PR Reach. So my partner Norm bought the company. He had it for 3 or 4 months, and he asked me to partner with him. So we're co-owners of this company, and what it was the world's first video press release company, and that was pretty cool. Well, we bought it from a friend of ours named Rob Burns back in about, I think he started it back maybe 2014 or so. very popular, very novel at the time. But we wanted to transform it from more than just a press release company into more of a communications, media, public relations company, like a fully integrated or vertically integrated media company. And that's what we've been really working hard to do this last year. And for Amazon sellers, the very interesting thing that I found over the years is that even if you're $1 million a month plus seller or whatever size you are, so many, I'd say probably over 90% of Amazon sellers I know, it's literally their first business they've ever had. They never had a physical retail store. They weren't in the online, they have no concept of what it takes to advertising and touch points and the power of media influence and social proof and all those types of things. They strictly operate in the Amazon universe. And when you start to have them put their head up and look outside, it's a very scary, unknown thing, and the typical story I see is, and I went through this myself. You start to build an Amazon business. You're very happy. Things are going pretty good. Hey, you just hit 10,000 a month or 5,000 or 100,000 or whatever that number is for you. And you decide to start a Shopify store and you think, all right, I'm going to diversify. And what happens? Nothing, because now you have to drive your own traffic, and that's a totally different game, right? So that's one of the things we do is we help people build their Amazon business, but we also help people build off of Amazon. And I think that's the most exciting thing, because Amazon is wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful. It still has its dangers, because if you only build an Amazon business, you're a one-legged stool. You get an account suspension, or there's a million things that can happen. But and at the end of the day, it's not really your business. It's Amazon's business, because they're not your customers. You don't even get the customer data because they're Amazon's customers. So it's still a wonderful place to generate money. It's a wonderful place to get started because so many things are done for you. But as you grow, I think it's very important to diversify off of Amazon and build, you build your own list, build other sources of revenue. I think that's so important. And if you want to get into, if you're doing Shopify, or you want to move to Walmart.com or get into physical retail stores, having that brand presence by building a real brand, not just an Amazon brand, is very, very important. And for everyone, that's a bit different. Some people might start to do that in the first few months. Some people might not do that for 2 or 3 years down the road, and that's okay. But I think it's important to have on the radar. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So could you please let us know how the press releases can help us in going off Amazon and helping us to scale a bit what we are doing?
Yeah. Press releases are very interesting because they're very misunderstood. A lot of people phone me and they say, "Oh, Shane, I want to do a press release. I need to drive traffic and sales." Well, press release isn't going to do that. Certainly not one. It's not going to do that. That's not what it's designed for. We use press releases in different ways depending on what the goal is. But almost always press releases need to be done consistently over time. So let me just back up a bit here. So a press release is just it's written information about your business. Maybe it's a new product you've launched. Maybe you've hired an employee. Maybe you've opened an office. Maybe you have a partnership. Whatever the story is, and it doesn't really matter what the story is. That's the thing. It doesn't matter. It goes out through a distribution network. So we write this press release and we publish it in a distribution network, and it gets published on 1, 2, 3, 4, 500 different sites. And that's great. It's news and media sites and other types of sites. And so you start to get more authority because your brand name is out there, your product's out there, and these are higher authority placements. So it's like a third party is talking about your product or your brand. And of course, the links go back to your Amazon page or Shopify or social media, wherever you want the links to go. Now, there's that aspect of authority, and that's great. But the primary reason for doing press releases is for the backlinks, in my mind, because we have actually a special Amazon launch strategy. I mean, we've probably been using it now for 4.5, 5 years, where we pair external keyword traffic, usually in the form of rebates, with press releases. And what happens is the press releases do help the sales velocity and the stickiness. And as we know, at the end of summer, Amazon updated their A9 algorithm. Some people call it A10, but it's the algorithm. And now they've taken the weight off of PPC sales and put it onto off-site sales and traffic. So we can measure this. We can see that when we've got signals and backlinks coming in from high authority sites, it helps your product detail page. It helps your ranking for certain keywords. So there's that aspect where we use it as part of a ranking technique. There's the aspect of, hey, maybe you're just getting started. Maybe you're new and you want to start to build a bit of authority, but you don't have a large budget. No problem. You could just do one press release a month. It doesn't have to be crazy. If you can do more, great. It won't make a big difference in the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. You might see a little bit more traffic, and that's wonderful. The difference is on the SEO side over time. So we have clients who have been with us since maybe 2016 or so, and every single month, without fail, they put out a press release, at least one, every single month. It took about 3 years, but now on Google, page one, they own literally every single spot is a link to their product, whether it's their Amazon detail page, whether it's their Shopify page, whether it's another outlet talking about them and link going to them. Every single spot. It's very, very powerful, but that doesn't happen overnight. It took them 3 years to do that.
Sure. Okay.
Because press releases are they're just another form of content. Now, Google treats them as a different type of content, but we're just giving Google what they want, right? We're not putting any spammy links in there. We're not trying to manipulate them with super URLs. We're just a nice, clean piece of content in the form of a press release with a nice, solid link. To be honest, most of the keyword juice actually comes from the title, but we don't want to probably go too far down that rabbit hole. So we've got the Amazon side where we use it as part of a ranking strategy to help with keyword velocity and stickiness. We've got the authority side as well. And again, that is more of a long-term approach where it's inexpensive. We can use, I don't want to say a low quality because they're not low quality press releases, but our lowest level of press releases. Okay. So you're not going to get, published in the tier 1 networks, but you don't need that for this purpose. It just slowly chips away and chips away and chips away. And over time, it pays dividends. Now, we do have higher level press releases. So if you came to me and you said, oh my gosh, I just signed a deal with Nike or, big news, or you've just reinvented a new product, you think it's going to change everyone's lives. Great. We're going to use one of our top level press releases, which are more expensive. And that's when people can get away with just doing one press release or just doing, one every quarter or something. And what that does is that goes out to top tier news sites. And we also have a list of about 2 million, maybe just a little bit less than 2 million editors, journalists, bloggers, influencers, trade magazines. So we target your niche. So if let's say you come out with a new technology product, for example, we're going to target those technology businesses. So it's going to be put across the desk of BuzzFeed, TechCrunch, all these big name outlets. Now, it's no guarantee they're going to read it. It's no guarantee they're going to publish it or call you and talk to you about it. But if there's a good chance for getting your product exposed because of that really strong, interesting headline, that's the way to do it. So there's a few ways we use them. And then when people are ready to move to the next level, then we've got some other products or services that we will do, which incorporate press releases as part of a larger content strategy or as part of a larger earned media and public relations strategy. But at a very base level, you could be a brand new Amazon seller, only been selling for a few months or 6 months, and you can start to leverage press releases just by slowly building more authority. And over time, you will build search engine ranking love, basically, and get some ranking juice. Now, if the one caveat I want to make is that, let's say you're selling an iPhone case. Good luck. I mean, pull out your wallet. You're going to need some money to rank for that, right? Because it's so competitive. So just like with any SEO strategy, even if you do sell an iPhone case, we're not going to try and rank for the term iPhone case right out of the gate. We'll go with some longer tails. But as long as you take an intelligent keyword strategy going forward and stick to those different long tail variations, like any SEO keyword strategy, you generally have really good luck because you're putting out exactly what Google wants: good quality content. Don't use spammy links. Nice, clean titles. Always keep the same keyword theme going forward, and it will start to pay off for you.
Okay, that was awesome. Okay, so what do you recommend? Being a new seller, I mean, just having one product and you just started out. So, do you recommend doing the press releases from the start, and how you are doing this? Like, we are going for the keywords, and the same keywords are going for the press releases as well, or you recommend doing different keywords for the press releases?
No, I recommend that you absolutely use the same keywords because you want everything pulling in the same direction. So let's just say, well, if you come to us and we do a launch for you, we're going to do these full price rebates. Let's say we're going after 6 different keywords. Maybe one of them is just the primary keyword and the rest are in support. Because we like to have a lot of diversity in there, so it doesn't look strange to Amazon. But even if you're doing it yourself, you're running heavy PPC, you've got your own strategies for launching. Great. Use the same keywords in the press releases as with your launch strategy, so they're all pulling in the same direction at the same time. And I think that's another really important point is if you are doing the launch, let's say over 2.5 or 3 weeks, release the press releases during that period of time. Don't do it 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later. Do it at the same time. We usually do a press release right before we start our strategy, 1, 2, 3 days before. Oftentimes, we'll see a press release push up the keyword rankings. Not always, but oftentimes. Our strategy is actually like if you're doing one press release a month, it's not going to make a big difference. Okay, that's the long game. That's a long-term vision. That's all there is to it. But if you said, Shane, I've got this strategy and I want press releases, usually we'll do 6, 8, 10, 12 press releases over 2 to 3 weeks, specifically targeting those keywords. And we'll release them all during that 3-week period. So you've got to hit it pretty hard. You can't just do a press release along with a launch and expect it to change the entire scope of the launch. It won't happen.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's have some questions. Guys, if you have any questions regarding the press releases, please comment below so we can ask. So here is the one question. What is the best way to rank private label products in beauty category other than PPC?
Yeah, I mean the beauty category is, as you probably know, one of the more difficult categories. That and supplements and some electronics are pretty tough too. And the other problem with the beauty category is you're oftentimes limited with the types of advertising and promotion you can do. For instance, Amazon editorial recommendations. We place people there all the time. For a lot of beauty products, that's not available, or keto supplements. You can't do that. So you have to find alternate ways. My experience in beauty, and I have a lot of experience there, is that whenever I'm launching a new product in beauty, I hit it hard right away. I don't fool around too much. With other products, I take a little bit more slower, measured, natural looking approach. And in general, I always want to do that. I don't want to raise any weird red flags with Amazon. But with beauty, sometimes you need to hit it a little bit harder. So I'll test it for a week or two first, and I won't hit it that hard. I'll just see how everything reacts. So if I'm running full price rebates, like through one of the systems we have, and I get great response, wonderful. I won't turn it up. But if it barely makes a dent, then I'll crank it hard. The other very, very important thing to do with high competition categories is, any ranking strategy will push your keyword to the top of page 1 if you hit it hard enough, if you spend enough. The trick is to stay there. There's no reason to go up and then right back down. You're just wasting your money. And that's where we always institute a maintenance strategy. So once we get some keywords up to where we want, then we maintain them there. And then we pull away slowly. So let's say we get our product to position, it's bouncing around between position 2, position 5, 3. It's bounce around. Hey, wonderful. As we're slowly building reviews, we know the conversion rate's not going to be good. If we've only got a dozen reviews and our competitors have hundreds or thousands, it's just not going to. We need to keep it supported there. So while we're supporting it there, let's say we keep it there for 2 weeks, then let's say we're running 10 rebates a day to keep it there. Let's just, for example, well, I'll pull it down to 8 rebates a day and let that run for a week and see. Oh, it's holding. Let's move it down to 7, 6, 5, 4. Oh, starting to drop. Oh, push it back up. And I just do that to maintain it there until it can hold its own organically. Most people don't have that forward vision of, okay, every launch to me is a minimum of 3 months. Even if I get the results I want in 2 weeks, I still have a 3-month horizon because, again, I don't want that to fall back down. I want it to stay up. So I think it's really important. And I think not just in beauty category, but any category, especially the more competitive ones, hit it, get it up there, whether that takes you 2 weeks, a month, 6 weeks, whatever you want to do, whatever your budget is, whatever your inventory limitations. I mean, now with FBA inventory limitations, sometimes things are a little bit harder and you should have a 3PL in place. But, have that plan with the estimated number of units you need to achieve the ranking you want, and then have a reserve to maintain it. And while we're maintaining it, we'll keep hitting it with press releases, and that helps keep that keyword ranking sustained as well.
Okay, great. Have you worked on the PPC on agency level? If yes, how did you categorize everything?
I don't quite understand the question.
Options. Okay, Fraz, if you could explain again your question, please. Okay.
Okay, I see a question there from Mohammed about the key points to follow and recommended budget. I don't have a recommended budget. So it just comes down to where you are as a seller. And press releases are really the starting point. I think it's something you should do no matter what. Like advertising, you should just do them forever. As long as you have your business, you should be doing that until the day you sell your business. That's it. At what level the press releases is going to change as your business grows. So for starting businesses, hey, maybe they're just doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 press releases a month. I mean, 5 press releases a month for a new business, that's a lot. That's great. I mean, wonderful. If you can do that, great. If you can only do 1, that's fine too. Or maybe you do one of the high-end premium press releases every 2 months or every quarter. Wonderful. Anything helps to get started because it does help get you that off Amazon, those valuable links, and it will start to slowly build your SEO and give you a bit of authority. As we know, a lot of people will go to Amazon, they'll see a new product and they'll see, Zishan company, they think, oh, what's this company? And they'll Google it. If they see some press releases there, it's legitimate. It's like, oh, okay, this company is a real company. They're doing press releases. All right, there's a trust. There's a bit of trust there. So, press releases can be very inexpensive to do kind of the baseline press releases every single month. It won't cost a heck of a lot. So the budget is just depending on where you're at. Now, as your business is growing and you want to drive more external traffic and more authority, again, there's other services, for instance, that we have that are more about really improving your SEO, and they all contain press releases in them. So you don't need to keep that subscription necessarily because you've moved on to a higher level product. Now, we do have people who do both, and let's say they're doing 1 press release a month. They keep that 1 press release a month for one-off news things. Hey, they launched a new product. Hey, they've got this, or whatever comes up, or they're going to be at a trade show, or whatever their news is for that month. And the other product they have for that higher level service is always focused on certain keyword sets until they achieve the ranking, the Google ranking they want, and then they move on to the next keyword set. So you could use them in conjunction. But back to your question, it really just depends on where you're at as a seller and how fast you want to expand and how how rapidly you want to get that brand authority out.
Okay. So where to do press release? Please, can you explain from the very basics?
Do you mean what company to use for press releases?
Yeah, but the very basics, like from where to start actually.
Well, so for example, most of our customers that do press releases with us, they have us write them for them. There's a few customers that come through that want to write their own, but it's not very common anymore. It used to be much more common. And here's the important thing to remember. Let's say you decide to do. So first of all, please don't go to Fiverr and buy a press release for $5 and use their distribution system. It's going to hurt your listing more than it will help, because they're probably going to send you out to a link farm. Don't do it. You get what you pay for. If you find press releases for less than $50, I just don't do it. Spend your money on something else. Do something else. It's not going to help your listing at all. Let's just say you sign up with us or some other company and you're doing a press release and you want to write your own. The very important thing to remember is a press release is viewed as a very particular type of content by Google, and it must remain in a press release format. The reason why we end up writing most of the press releases for our customers is because sometimes the customer says, oh, no, I've got a professional writer on my crew, or I've been writing for years, I'll do it. They send it in, oh, yeah, that's fine. They send it in, and it's written like a blog, or it's written like ad copy. That's the fastest way to get it either outright rejected or very low distribution, because the news companies, they don't want to they're supposed to be publishing news articles, not blogs, not infotainment, press releases. So it must, and it's a very simple format. There's nothing complicated about it, especially once you do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, you'd be like a pro at them. The other thing, there's two other things that are very, very important. So there's the format and structure, not writing it as a blog or an ad. The title is very, very important. I like to be as lean as possible with a title. Hang on, I'm just going to plug my computer in before it dies here. Avoid fluff words, if and so, like as much as you can. Stick to your primary keywords as much as possible. Or keywords that are irrelevant to your product. So let's say it's Zeeshan Company discovers a better way to grow your hair. That's a terrible title, because the word discovers probably isn't going to be searched. So there'd be a lot of other ways we could spin that title to make sure Zeeshan Company is there and grow your hair, or the primary word. So basically you just want to play with those words to have a really efficient title. The secret about press releases is about 80% of their authority and keyword ranking weight doesn't come from the URL. It comes from the title, because Google treats it as a very special piece of content. And the last thing is the URL. So we can have up to 3 links in a press release, but we never add 3 links all the time. Occasionally we will, sure. We always mix it up. Sometimes 1, sometimes 3, sometimes 2. If you're doing a big campaign, sometimes we won't have any links in there at all to show that diversity to Google. And we don't use 2-step URLs. We don't use super URLs. We don't use anything out of the ordinary. A lot of times we'll just use a straight up Amazon.com/DP/ASIN, that basic URL, or the canonicals are a really good URL to use as well. It's very, we want to show Google that we're not trying to manipulate anything. And the wonderful thing about press releases too, and this little add-on, is you can add images. You've got all your company information there. You can add PDFs or research papers, things like that. All your social media links are going to be in there. You can embed YouTube videos. So if you've had a YouTube video made or you've done it yourself, you can embed the video link. The only thing there is that the video should be related to the topic of the press release. Okay, so Google can see that continuity. One other very, very last important thing. If you're driving your links back to your Shopify page, for example, and not Amazon, if you have a pop-up on your site, so when you go to the site, it pops up and save 25% today, very, very bad. You could get your URL blocked by Google. Google doesn't want to see press releases drive links to sites that have anything that might be spammy or salesy. Okay, so disable those pop-ups if you have them, if they're obnoxious or salesy. Yeah.
Okay. Do press releases better work in digital media or also in print media?
Yeah, so the press releases we work with are digital for sure. To get into print media is very expensive, thousands usually, and they're not effective for online businesses. Now, if you're a dentist in San Francisco, well, sure, having a press release come out in the local San Francisco newspaper, sure, that might have an effect. But for us, we don't deal with printed newspapers too often. Sometimes we'll get placements, but it's not something that we're actively looking for. For us on the print side, and Zisha knows about the projects we're running, that's more of an earned media thing where, yes, we'll get you into print media, but it won't be a press release. It'll be in a magazine or an article or something like that. But that takes time to get, because most of these print magazines are planning, 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8 months ahead. So if you want that, if you came to me now, well, maybe by the summer we could get you into those. So in the meantime, we'll just keep picking off the low-hanging fruit, getting you published with whatever other publications we can get as we build up momentum and keep pitching your product to different media outlets, if that makes sense. Sorry, I don't want to muddy the waters here too much, but
okay. What could be the best ways to stay ranked and be a big brand on Amazon in high competitive supplement category?
Yeah, supplements, good times. To stay ranked. So here's the thing with supplements.
Just a simple, I guess, we can make it simple that how we can be a big brand as well in supplement category.
Yeah. Here's what I do with supplements. First of all, you generally have to have a bigger budget. And if you went into supplements, you probably know this. If you rise, I never push supplements super hard out of the gate, because if you rise to the top of the page for a supplement and you have 6 reviews, your competitors will shred you to bits because you have a big target on your back. Okay. So what I do with supplements is I play low key. I just do a slow rise as I accumulate reviews and my conversion rate goes up. Once I feel, hey, I've got 60 reviews or 200 reviews or whatever, then I start to turn up the heat because I've already got some organic sales coming in. I've got some nice love. So that might take 6 weeks. It might take 3 weeks. It might take 3 months, just depending on how aggressive you are. That's how I approach supplements. And then it's so important when I talked about that maintenance, keyword maintenance, that's 100%. I mean, and you have to be able to support your keywords once you're there and fend off attacks. So you've got to have thick skin. So if you get, your listing pulled down for a few days, it's just the way it goes. You've got to deal with that. Now we do have a little bit of a secret weapon with supplements that we employ. Number one, our ranking system is very good. We send a lot of social and external traffic to your page, so it gives a bit more ranking juice. Okay, wonderful. But because people in supplements are very limited as Facebook ads, and there's so many limitations on what you can do to drive traffic, we have something called off-site articles that supplements can go in. And that's basically getting your product into a high authority publisher will write an article about you. It'll sit on their website. Like for instance, Wirecutter is one. Everybody seems to know Wirecutter these days. The New York Times bought them recently. And those links will go back to your Amazon page. They will accept supplements. The only problem with off-site articles is that, first of all, if you're a brand new seller, they're not going to accept it because for them, it's an affiliate play. They want to make sure that if they promote your product, they're going to make money at it, right? So I wouldn't, once you start to get established, then I'd start to look at those offsite articles. And that really can drive a lot of traffic and a lot of authority. But the other really cool thing about offsite articles for anyone, whether it's supplements or not, is they will accept promotions. So let's say during the month of March, you're offering 25% off, or you've got a coupon, save 10 March or something, or for 2 days or whatever you're doing. And you can drive those links to Amazon. You can drive them to Shopify, Walmart, wherever you want. They will accept those promotions. In fact, they love promotions because what they're doing is they're sending that out to their list. So they want to be the hero. They want to be like, hey, check it out. They got this new beauty cream product or supplement or whatever. Save 10% this month or month of March. So they're going to send that out to their list. Sometimes they'll do like mobile phone push notifications to subscribers. They'll take out Google ads. They'll get you placed in like review sites. Like they'll do a lot if they think the return is there, because again, it's an affiliate play for them. So because we're a PR agency, if you get placed with one of these things, there's extra stuff we can do to drive links to that page. Because if they let's say your product gets published, like they read an article, they publish it, and they do very, very well. Well, next time they want to run a similar type of supplement, are they going to go with you or some unknown competitor? Well, they're going to go with you because they killed it last time with you. So we've got ways of kind of manipulating that system to keep them more favorable on your brand. But because Amazon editorial recommendations, we have about an 80% placement rate. So about 80% of the time we'll get you placed there. Off-site, it's a much lower amount. It's around 40%. So if you submit 10 ASINs to me, I might only get 3, 4, 5 of them published. Some months, maybe 1 or 2 or none. Other months, maybe 6. Who knows? It's a bit of a crapshoot. But we're adding more publishers all the time to that group. So I'm hoping that, 3, 4, 5, 6 down the road, that 40% might creep up to 50, 60%, sort of within 6 months. But yeah, I guess, Zishan, there's so many rabbit holes we can go down to talk about this. I mean,
yeah, I can understand. It's a never-ending topic, and we can just expand whatever the time. But we have a limited time, so we can take, I guess, 2 more questions only. How many pickups can I expect my press release to achieve if it is distributed through your network?
Yeah, so it depends on, so we have multiple networks we'll use depending on what your needs are. But even our baseline press releases, we usually get between 300 and 500. So 300 to 500. Our top tier placements is usually, I'd say typically 150 to 250, but they're much more powerful. And we have very robust reporting as well, which is something I worked really hard on this year, because I wanted each press release to show an impact. I mean, I've been using press releases for, since 2014, I guess. In some months, I'd think, the money came out of my bank account for this. Is it really doing anything? So we have keyword reports with each press release. So we measure, we take your title and we take every permutation of that title. So every word combination, we see where you're ranking on Google, and we can track that, right? So that's a nice thing. So you can actually see you're having a keyword impact. Now with the baseline press releases, it's a slower process. Again, that's the long game. Have a long vision. For our premium press releases, bam, within 72 hours, we'll often get you to the top of page 1 in Google for a lot of terms. Now, it doesn't mean your direct-to-product URL is going to be there. It doesn't mean your Shopify store is going to be there, but it might be a Yahoo article, or it might be a different partner article, and then the article will link to your page. So it will start to bring more traffic and SEO love. It's basically an SEO. It's kind of like a mini SEO shortcut. We have a product called Brand Builder, which is the true product, but one of those high-end press releases on their own is an SEO shortcut because it's getting you exposure for certain keywords that really you have no business ranking for. So, yeah, long-winded answer.
Okay, so last but not the least, a question I heard too many times, that is Amazon really saturated, or there are still opportunities there?
Well, both. Both. If you want to sell silicone spatulas, I wouldn't recommend it. But there's always room for innovation. New products are coming out every single day, like different types of products. So, when we look at the bestseller list from 2015, 2017, 2019, and we'll look at it this year, completely different products on there. So I think it's very important to maintain that attitude. If you just want to offer the same thing as everyone else, you can do that. You can still build a business that way. You're going to have a different set of struggles. You have to understand, and this is really good, because most sellers don't have a bloody clue. Honest to goodness, 90% of sellers, you look at their listings and you just shake your head and wonder how they get any sales at all, to be honest. But they do. So if you can just have a better listing, have better images, have better packaging, have blah, blah, the whole thing, you will start to get traction. You might have to push harder on markets that are a bit more saturated. Whenever you can innovate, whenever you can add improvements, wonderful.
Okay, great. So that's it for today. And I really, really, really thank you for joining us here. And thank you so much. In the Pakistan, in the Urdu, it's called Shukriya, Bahut Bahut Shukriya. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Take care. Bye. जी, आप सबका भी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, आपने जो है वो ज्वाइन किया। मिलेंगे नेक्स्ट वेडनेसडे एक नए टॉपिक के साथ। तब तक के लिए अपना ख्याल रखिएगा और मुझे इजाजत दें। अल्लाह हाफिज।